Welcome into Death Valley here at Clemson Memorial Stadium, the site for this SEC matchup between the Florida State Seminoles and the Clemson Tigers. I'm David Roy, and in the booth with me, my broadcast partner for tonight, Mike Peters. And Mike, Clemson comes into this unbeaten. Florida State, on the other hand, they come into this, they've lost 2 straight, only beating Oregon in week 1. And Florida State, they don't want to fall to 0-2 in conference, but they have a tough test ahead of them here tonight.
Well, they do. It's not going to be easy knocking off the Clemson Tigers at home, but they're going to give it their best effort. You know, they don't want to fall 0-2 in conference, so put them behind the 8 ball a little bit. They're a team that a lot of teams or a lot of people expected to be a candidate for the best team in the SEC. They haven't shown it yet, but they want to start making a run towards that tonight.
Clemson comes into tonight unbeaten, and the Seminoles looking to knock them off as they will start with the football, and they go to Vidar Lund, their big tailback, and he'll open up the drive with a gain of 4.
Well, Vidar hasn't had a huge game so far, but he's been effective when he's gotten carries, 5.9 per carry. The downside is he's not even averaging 15 carries a game. They got to turn that around.
Adonis Jackson to throw, and he will go short and to the right. And the tight end, Brandon Maynard II, he'll come up with 4 yards as Jackson got his first touchdown pass of the season last week.
Well, he's going to need a big game. He's got to avoid the turnovers, got to be crisp and efficient, got to lead touchdown drives.
Tight end in motion, and the give running left is Lund as he cuts it upfield. He'll get 7 yards, and Florida State, the running game is working for them.
Well, they want to use that more, I think. I don't think they've used it enough so far. I think Lund and Jackson are your powerhouse in the backfield running the football.
And the gun, the receiver in motion is Elijah Thomas, and then Jackson keeps it almost like a quarterback power, and he'll get a couple of yards with his first carry of the night.
Well, and that's a similar play that Javon Mack took against this Florida State team for a big gain in his 396-yard rushing performance. So it's an effective play. Clemson doing a good job of limiting things right now.
Jackson over the middle, and the pass is caught. Matthew Moyer gets it across midfield. And for the first time tonight, Florida State has moved into Clemson territory.
Well, and they're moving the ball pretty well here. It's the opening drive. You want to start off with some momentum. They're doing the right things right now. The big thing with them is can they keep that going all game long?
Jackson has to throw this one in the dirt, and it will fall incomplete. Second and 10.
Well, the first miscue so far. Right now, Florida State trying to stay balanced, move the ball down the field, just don't make any mistakes.
Lund outside and to the left, and he is bunched up very quickly by this Clemson defense. A long third down ahead of Adonis Jackson.
Well, it's a big man to try to turn around and move on a dime like that. 6'3", 245. He didn't get the wheels turned upfield quick enough.
2x2 set, excuse me. Jackson goes short and to the left. Kamorian Moore cannot get the first down as he only picks up 8.
Well, they were hoping that he could turn upfield and get the first down. They threw it short of the marker. It's risky when you do that. Don't really like that call by Florida State. You want to push it past the first down marker. Oh, and they're going to fake it.
Punt. And the punter downfield, incomplete as Clemson scrambling, trying to keep it from hitting the turf and picking it off. But back-to-back games tonight, we've seen a fake punt by the road team, and it doesn't pay off.
Well, that punter thought he was a starting quarterback because he tried to throw that downfield and into triple coverage. And he almost got it, you know, but that's not what you want to see your punter do on a fake punt.
No, and Florida State has struggled with turnovers. They nearly turned over, and they will turn over on downs. So Clemson will start from their own 37 as Will Slay wheel route. Dane Jones down the left sideline and out of bounds at the Florida State 40.
Well, getting him open like that on the outside is dangerous because he's a big, strong, fast guy. Get him in an open field on the outside, he can make some things happen. And Florida State's going to need to be aware of him and keep their eyes on him, not to let him get free and open by that big of a margin.
Will Slay and company making their first trip into Florida State territory. Pistol set as the Florida State defense, and off coverage. Jones motion out of the backfield to the right, and they will flip it to him, and he'll get a couple yards.
Well, it's interesting that they're going the Jones that much early on. Granted, it's only 2 plays, but he's not a guy that gets a ton of receptions, only 16 coming in. But they're using him early. That could open up some other things as the game progresses.
Slay going to try to scramble, and he is sacked for a loss of 5. Excellent job by this Florida State defense.
Well, Will Slay's kind of been an enigmatic quarterback to some degree. He started off, kind of caught the league by storm, put together a pretty good season, but then struggled towards the end of it. Second season he comes out, does a little bit better, hoping for even more progress. This season hasn't really done it much so far.
He threw 3 picks last week, and it was the first time in 10 games they did not have a touchdown pass here. He wanted the deep ball, but hit as he throws, and the pass falls incomplete. 4th down, and Clemson will call upon their punting unit.
Well, the pressure from that Florida State defensive line gets through. They got 4-star level players out there, and it's not an easy front line to deal with, so they force the punt. And they'll get the ball back. Still no score. Each team's got a possession. Felt each other out a little bit. Now you got to start trying to make some separation. You don't want to go too deep in this game without scoring.
So this Clemson defense, they only gave up 37 yards on the first drive to Florida State, an average of about 4 yards a play for the Seminoles, and they will start from their own 20 off the touchback. And the give to Loon right up the middle, and Vidar Loon, they're trying to get him going as he picks up 7.
Well, I think it's good for him. You remember him coming out early in the season, missed the entire 4th quarter. Just haven't really been able to figure out how to get him going this season after a tremendous season last year. I think he's the key to righting the things that are wrong with this team so far.
Adonis Jackson on the wide receiver screen, and Kamori and Moore is able to get the first down with a gain of 5.
Well, they did a good job of setting that up and blocking it, but Josh Clayton's able to find a way through the blocking and make the stop. Even though he got the first down, he kept it from being more than it could have been.
And the gun, receiver in motion, and the triple option here is Adonis Jackson fighting forward, gets 5.
Well, the thing I like to see there is he's bottled up in there and he covers up the ball with 2 hands. He struggled with fumbles through his first 2 seasons. Wasn't trying to fumble there. Just take what you got. Don't give up the ball.
On this season, his biggest kryptonite has been interceptions. 4 picks, only 1 touchdown pass. Has loomed outside and to the right, gets a couple yards, and a short 3rd down.
Well, we talked about Vidar Loon having a nice season last year, 801 yards, 9 touchdowns. A little bit of a fall off from his first season at Notre Dame, but they want to get him back going there. 5.9 yards per carry, you got to use him.
Jackson downfield. There's Brandon Maynard, the second out to the Clemson 45.
Well, mix it in the tight end's not a bad idea. We wanted to see that a little bit with Newsome in the first game. We got a little bit of him, maybe not as much as we wanted to. Brandon Maynard's another one of those guys, 5-star tight end. He can get out there. He can create some space. He can get open downfield. You got to use him to help free up other things.
So Adonis Jackson out of the gun, 3 wide. And the give on the counter, Vidar Loon runs through 1 defender and fighting through Dedrick Law out to the 30.
Well, this is what makes Vidar Loon so tough, is he can wear down the defense. He can run over defenders. He can take guys for a ride. You put your offense on his back. You create some space for Adonis Jackson on the read option. It makes things tough for the opposing defense. Right now they're doing a good job of getting him involved.
So we're actually going to say he got to the Clemson 29. Pistol full house, play fake, Jackson dancing in the pocket, floats it over and into traffic as the Clemson Tiger defense bats it away. Dedrick Law covered.
Well, and that's been the thing with Adonis Jackson, is he too often will look for the covered receiver hoping that something happens, and too often it turns out going bad.
Read option keeper, Jackson outside to the left, and he's got blocking in a foot race with Clayton, and Josh Clayton will stop him inside the 5.
Well, he took a good angle there to keep him out of the end zone, but a great run here by Adonis Jackson. Gets sealed off by the blockers and is able to accelerate down the sideline. He has got tremendous speed, can be one of the most explosive runners that we see when they can get him open like that.
1st and goal for the Seminoles. First time either team has made a trip to the red zone. Triple option, and Adonis Jackson will punch it in for 6.
Well, he keeps it himself. No need to pitch it. No need to risk anything there. Just takes it himself and walks into the end zone untouched. His 4th rushing touchdown of the season. So he's up there among the league leaders, especially among quarterbacks. Doing a good job running the ball. If he can get his passing going just enough to free up that running game, this can be a very dangerous team.
Well, the Seminoles, courtesy of Sir Johnson with the extra point, and the touchdown run by Adonis Jackson has a 7-point lead inside of 4 minutes to play here in this opening quarter. And Clemson now Going to turn their eyes to Will Slay, who last week 3 picks. It was really in a turnover-friendly game against LSU, and it was the first time in 10 games he didn't have a touchdown pass.
Yeah, it was a very uncharacteristic game for him. He came off of a 5-touchdown and a 4-touchdown performance, and then goes no touchdowns, 3 picks. A little bit inconsistent Slay has been in his career.
Slay to throw, and he's going to get sacked. Dragged down by William Robinson.
Well, a nice job there, breaking free and getting in there to make the tackle and getting the sack, starting with an 8-yard loss, not what you want to see.
So 2nd and 18. From inside their own 20, pistol set. Slay, he will throw it away over to the left side of the field, and that brings up 3rd and 18.
Well, so you get the sack on the first down, and you make it 3rd and 18, then you make them throw it away on 2nd down. Going to be a tough spot. Although we did see in the first game, USC threw a touchdown on the 3rd and 17.
Slay's in trouble. He has to throw it downfield, and it's nearly intercepted. Kevin Watts had it in his hands, but quick 3 and out for the Clemson Tigers.
Well, and those very rarely go well for you when you're spinning and bobbing and weaving like that. You don't get to set up and really drive the ball downfield. And so he's lucky it wasn't picked off. The sack on the first down is really what killed the drive. And now Florida State got an opportunity to extend their lead.
They're going to have a short field courtesy of Matthew Moyer, who's going to move it down inside the Clemson 45-yard line. And Florida State looking to go up 2 scores.
I just want to see more running. Just keep running the ball. If you can run for 500 yards with these 2 guys, let them do it.
From the Clemson 42 to begin the drive, Lund outside and to the left. Vidar Lund down the left sideline, and he is stopped finally at the Clemson 26.
Well, and you can have a thunder and lightning kind of combo between these 2 guys. Lund is the big power guy that can run people over, call him Thunder. And then Adonis Jackson, we saw on that run down the left sideline on the earlier drive, can be that lightning. And if you can get those guys going, it's a really tough offense to stop.
2 tight ends to the left. Read option keeper Adonis Jackson going outside and to the right, hit hard as he gets out to the 20.
Well, Jackson's going to avoid letting the defense line him up. Dietrich Law coming across there and just blasts him and puts him down there. Nice, actually, that was Adam Vickers, who's in his debut game making a nice hit.
Yeah, the new addition to this Clemson secondary comes up and makes his presence known as 2nd and 3 appears. And Elijah Thomas into the backfield for the triple option. They pitch it to him. And Thomas, he's got open field. Touchdown, Florida State.
That was Brent Mills, actually, that got the touchdown on that one. Yeah, Brent Mills gets out. I actually thought it was Tom Pence back there when we first saw him. But Tom Pence has moved on. And Brent Mills, the 3-star junior, gets the pitch, finds an opening, and Florida State up 2 scores here. A little bit of a surprise for everybody that thought Clemson was going to win this one handily.
So Florida State now goes up 14-0 against a Clemson squad who came into this game. They were undefeated. And now a loss here would put Florida, believe it or not, at the top of the SEC.
Well, there's still a lot of game to go. We'll see how it is. I want to know, why is Clayton shaking his head at me? What did I do?
I don't know. Not sure. But you know something? He's probably shaking his head now at Dane Jones for not being able to take that back to the house on that kick return.
He might need to shake his head at his own defense.
That's true, too.
and they got to find a way to stop this Florida State offense.
Could be shaking his head at his own offenses. They have not been able to muster points. They'll start from their own 37, though, and Jones, who had the good return, will begin the drive with the 3-yard run.
Well, surprisingly, it's his first carry, and we're almost at the end of the first quarter. He had a couple of catches to start, and then they haven't really featured him much. I mean, that's the guy you got to really look to get things going.
Trips bottom of the screen for 2nd down. Will Slay to throw against a 3-man rush, and he will check it down for Clayton. He will get 3 yards, but still a 3rd and medium.
Oh, he doesn't like my thunder and lightning reference.
Oh.
I mean, a 245-pound running back and a speedy quarterback. I mean, what else would you call it? The cat and the mouse?
I mean, it's got to be thunder and lightning. There's no other way around it. Halfback screen, Dane Jones in a foot race. And they're going to say he got the first down, had a fight to get to it, and it was close, but he got there.
Well, the one thing you can say about Dane Jones is he can bring the thunder and the lightning both together.
Oh, yeah, he's got it both in one package.
Yeah, and so, yeah, not taking anything away from what they got back there.
Wide receiver screen nearly intercepted. It was bobbled by Elijah Toro, but that was 6 points.
Yeah, Toro had 6 gift wrapped for him.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, well, it's not Christmas. I don't want to open this one.
It's Christmas in July. Pitiful house. Slay in trouble. Hit as he throws, and coming up to bat it down at the line was Ben Cole.
Well, so far, this is the best we've seen Florida State play in quite a while. Actually, they're playing really well defensively. They're executing on offense. And right now, they've got Clemson in a tough spot.
Long third down upcoming. Ross, the tight end, in motion. Slay to throw. 4-man rush. He's in trouble, and he's going to get sacked. Zach Howard and Latrell Graves, they run that pincer and close in on him.
Well, and that's part of what makes this defense so tough is those guys up front. And on a 3rd and 10, you've got to force the ball downfield a little bit to get the first down, and that just creates more time for those guys to beat their blockers, and they do there. They get the sack for the 2nd straight drive, and once again, Clemson's going to have to punt.
So 3 straight drives where this Clemson offense has offered precious little as Matthew Moyer got rocked on the return.
Well, and that was Adam Vickers, the new guy down there playing special teams. They insert him right out there, and he's doing well as a gunner running down there making tackles.
He's looking very frustrated with the way things are going for his Clemson Tigers with his debut with the team.
Well, they need to do something to stop this offense before it gets rolling any more than it has.
Adonis Jackson on the give here to Vidar Lund up the middle. Stopped pretty quickly, but he's able to squeeze out 3 yards.
Well, and this is a situation where you kind of want to see a play action. You fake it to Looney, you take a shot over the middle. Even if you run an out route or something, just show that you're willing to pass out of a run look.
Read option keeper Adonis Jackson tried to go outside, but he will run into Ty Perry. 3rd and 11.
Well, and that was a good opportunity because they bid on Lund up the middle. They could have had somebody open downfield. They try to be a little too conservative, keep going with the read option. Doesn't work for it. Now they're in a long 3rd down.
2-by-2 set. Adonis Jackson draw play. Lund bottled up for a loss of 2. David Tilley gets in the backfield. And so the Clemson defense, they found their grit, they found their nerve, and they step up.
Well, every team, pretty much every game, has at least one drive that you want to forget about, and that's going to be the one for Florida State, at least so far in this game.
So a 3-and-out and a punt for Florida State. Dane Jones on the return. He gets hit pretty hard by Akuma Talo.
Well, and the punter actually got hit on the punt, and they didn't throw the flag on it. That should be a 1st down for Florida State, but instead, Clemson's got the ball.
Well, Florida State's defense doesn't feel too concerned. They've only given up a total of 15 yards to this Clemson offense. Although this is the best starting field position of the night for the Tigers from the Florida State 46. And a shot to the left. Pass is caught, and out of bounds at the 12 is Dwayne Forstall.
Well, that was a nice pass out there. We're seeing a little bit of Slay getting going there.
That's the end of the 1st quarter. Clemson's in scoring range, and you're watching the CFSL on PX1 Sports on YouTube Live. Pistol set to begin the 2nd quarter, and Will Slay on the read option gets decked for a loss of 4.
Yeah, that's Akuma Talote coming in there, making his 3rd tackle of the game. All-American linebacker getting in there to stop him on the read option. You know, I don't mind them going to it there, but Florida State just not fooled by it. Although they're giving up a lot of room over the middle right here.
From the gun, Slay on 2nd and 14, spins out of a tackle and fights his way back to the line of scrimmage.
And this is kind of what we've seen from Will Slay is, you know, he has had some really big games. Then he's had some games where he'll make some nice plays and then, you know, maybe tries to do too much and winds up putting himself in hole, which is where they're at now. You know, they're 3rd and 15 from the 17-yard line.
So Will Slay out of the gun. He'll look to throw. Throwing back to the end zone. Touchdown, Dorian Chase Miller.
Well, he didn't have to do too much there because the
No.
defense completely lost Dorian Chase Miller, and he gets in there for the touchdown, and that's going to be his 3rd of the season. So Dorian Chase Miller proving to be a big-time receiver in this offense. If Slay can find a little bit more consistency, they can find a little consistency with that read option, get Dane Jones going. This offense can be really explosive. Right now, Florida State's had the answer for him. Maybe this changes things.
Well, and that's definitely, at this point, the way things were going, that's a score that you got to think Clemson desperately needed just to get some momentum back.
Yeah, you went scoreless in the first quarter. You finally get one in the second quarter. Now you want to try to build off of that.
Looking for a big return here is Deontay King. It's decent. He gets it close to the 30-yard line. Adonis Jackson and company look to go back to work after a 3 and out.
Wasn't Jalen Waters number 14?
He was.
I always think of him now. When they give these players the same number at the same position, it gets hard to tell them apart sometimes.
Read option keeper Adonis Jackson bottled up relatively quickly. Able to get 3 yards, but he had to spin and fight to do so.
Yeah, he was a little indecisive there and ultimately chose to go outside. He should have kept it inside, but does still fight hard and picks up a few yards.
From the gun here is Adonis Jackson, the tight end in motion, and the give to Vidar Lund. Counter run, able to pick up 5.
And Vidar creates a little space in there, bobbing and weaving, finding his way up the middle, picks up the nice run. So now it's 32. You can go read option here. Since the defense is playing off, probably won't take a shot. Maybe just go read option.
They'll give it to Lund right up the middle. Did he get there? Yes.
Well, so they went read option. They give it to him on the inside zone. They pick up the first. Lund already 11 carries for 61 yards.
So out to their own 40. Pistol set Jackson. Going short into the flats, and the tight end, Brandon Mayer, the second. Stretching for the first down. They're going to mark him a couple yards shy, though.
Nice awareness there to try to reach out and get the first down. Wasn't happy with just 8 yards on first down.
2 tight ends on the field. 2 receivers top the screen. Speed option to the left. And bottled up is Jackson for a loss of 4. 3rd and medium.
Not quite sure why he didn't pitch that. It looked like he had Lund out there all alone. For some reason, he held onto it. Maybe the ball slipped out of him. But Tilley's able to get in there for his second tackle for loss here in the first half.
3rd and 6. Clemson rolling their coverage. As the tight end Maynard is in motion. Jackson to throw. Going to the right, and he throws it right to Elijah Thomas.
Well, they rolled their coverage the wrong way as they brought a blitz off of the right side. They had to roll their coverage to that side to keep everything contained, and then Thomas able to find some space on the opposite side and get the first down.
Adam Vickers came up to make the stop, but the ball is now spotted at the Clemson 39-yard line. Jackson, play fake, throwing short and to the right, and the pass is intercepted right at the 35-yard line, and a great job by Jake Maddox.
Well, I think we're going to get this one reviewed because I don't know that his foot came down. He definitely, maybe he did. I thought that foot came down, but they're not even going to review it. Nice pick there by the Clemson D.
So the pass intercepted. Clemson takes over from their own 36-yard line. Pistol set Slay. Swinging it out and to the right, and the fullback, Joseph Franklin, gets a yard.
Well, they're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive than that. They check it down there. Florida State's doing a really good job of keeping the underneath stuff. The one big play they had, they went to forestall on the bottom of the screen. They got to look for things like that because Florida State's really not giving them much short.
Slay, halfback screen, Dane Jones. He's got blocking in front of him as he's able to pick up the first down and extra out across midfield.
Well, then they proved me wrong there. So they're not giving anything short. They go with the halfback screen. They catch him there. They line up the blocks really well, and Jones is able to make some yardage happen on the outside.
Elijah Toro got hands on him, trying to push him out of bounds, and it slowed Jones enough for the rest of the defense to catch up with him. But Clemson will come out, and they will start here from the Florida State 48-yard line. Read option keeper Will Slay, first down and more as he's pushed out of bounds at the Florida State 34.
Well, we've seen from Slay throughout his career the ability to do things with his legs, and he's able to get out there, use that read option. I don't know if they've used it as much as I would have liked to have seen him, but if they get that going, much like Florida State on the other side, it gives an element to the offense that just makes it really tough to close in on.
Handoff, Jones to the left, and he's bottled up behind the line of scrimmage.
Well, and again, they're being a little cautious as far as trying to take play action, maybe take some shots downfield and create some separation. So you get the one big run, you go back to it, Florida State's ready for it, you wind up losing yards.
Seminoles showing a blitz, they bring it as Slay. Throwing to the left, and the pass is caught. Looking for a big gain is Jonathan Lamar as he advances it down to the 16.
Well, they had a dig route with a little curl route underneath, created some separation. Lamar does a great job making the catch, beats his guy in coverage, and picks up the 19-yarder in the first down. So now Clemson, really good opportunity here to try and score and tie this up.
So the ball spotted actually from the Florida State 17, and Slay under center, single back set. Draw play, Josh Clayton gets the carry, and he'll pick up 2.
Yeah, they've got Clayton back there trying to use him a little bit on offense, which you see a lot of teams do. He's had his moments, but I still don't know if I'm a big fan of having all these defensive guys playing offense.
Well, he's still in the backfield, but it's in a pistol set as Jones checks back in. Quick pass to the left, little dig route there for Dorian Chase Miller to set up a much shorter third down.
That's his second catch, got the touchdown on the first one. They're using him a little bit. We saw Forstall get involved earlier on. Jonathan Lamar got one. So right now they're doing a good job mixing up where they're going with the ball.
Playing in the backfield, Slay to throw. Going short and to the left. There's Scott Campbell, the walk-on for a first down.
Well, they had their walk-on receiver open to the right, wide open, but he elected not to go to him. Forces it a little bit in the coverage, but still works out for him. They get the first and goal now, and they punch it in.
From the Florida State 7. Goal to go situation, 2-by-2 set. Jones motion out of the backfield to the left. Here's Slay. Over the middle, pass is caught down to the 1 by Dustin Ellis.
Well, another one of those that are right on the goal line where we think they get the touchdown, but the refs don't give it to them. So now they got to try to punch it in. That could be a costly spot if they don't get this in.
They're going to go empty backfield here, potentially a quarterback draw in the works. As Will Slay, he'll look to throw. Tries to run it, but he runs right into Zach Howard.
Well, I don't think that was a draw. That one they were actually trying to pass it, but he waited too long. Everybody was covered, and then they gave an opportunity for Zach Howard to get in there. And again, this Florida State defensive line making it tough. Now 3rd and goal from the 4. They may not get the touchdown, and that spot's going to be crucial if they don't.
2-by-2 set, pistol. The give, Jones up the middle, touchdown Clemson.
Well, you know, if you want to give it to somebody who you think's pretty reasonable shot at getting a touchdown, it's the guy that got 8 touchdowns in 3 games to start his career last season. And Dane Jones gets it there. Surprisingly, that's his first rushing touchdown of the season.
Yeah, he went, and it was interesting when you watch those stats at the end of the season. 7 touchdown runs in his 3 games to end the season. The last 2 games of last season, 3 touchdown runs in each, and then comes out first 3 games of the season, went scoreless, and then he puts one on here in week 4.
Yeah, I mean, he was hot when he started last season. Then maybe teams found out about him. I would have loved to see what he would have done with the full season last year.
It was an All-American candidate through those 3 games. Likely would have been an Offensive Player of the Year candidate had he had a full season. Deontay King, good return for him as he comes out to the Florida State 23-yard line. And a pistol set to begin this drive for Adonis Jackson. Play fake, rolling right, Jackson on the run into traffic. It's Jake Maddox. It hit the back of his shoulder pads.
Well, if that was pro football, it would have been face guarding, as he didn't even look for it. He just threw his arm up. They used the play action. I don't like him throwing in the coverage there, but at least they're trying to loosen the box.
2nd and 10. Jackson tried to take off and run, and he runs into Big Bill McAllister.
Yeah, we talked about Carter Cook being a dump truck, and this guy, he's just a big old giant building sitting there in the middle, a big skyscraper or something. He's hard to get around. Big, tall guy, takes up lots of space. Jackson had nothing to do.
And his last 6 games, McAllister's had at least 2 tackles for a loss. In 6 of his last 7, McAllister's come up with a sack. As pressure, and the pass is picked off yet again, this time by Aiden Berry.
Well, we've talked about it often throughout Adonis Jackson's career, and for whatever reason, the turnover bug bites him, and it bit him in this game. It helped them tie the game up. Now he just gave it away with really good field position, and now Clemson's got an opportunity to take a 14-0 deficit and turn it into a 21-14 lead.
So ball spotted at the Florida State 32. Pass over the middle. It's caught. Dwayne Forstall for 6.
Well, Dorian Chase Miller got a touchdown. Forstall He's waiting for one, so he gets in there. First play after a touchdown, I like that. You know, a lot of times teams get a turnover, and then they kind of nickel and dime their way down, and they stall out. Clemson goes right for the jugular. Forstall does a great job of creating separation and breaking that one free. And, you know, Florida State was feeling comfortable early on. We even talked about if they were to lose this game, and now they're on a 21-0 run.
Clemson has taken a 7-point lead inside of 3.5 minutes of play here in this opening half. King gets a 28-yard return, but all of a sudden it started with the first interception by Maddox, but Clemson has seemingly swung all the momentum in their favor.
Well, Jackson's thrown 2 interceptions, so his confidence got to be a little bit shaken too.
Jackson, he will throw it away. You talk about his confidence being shaken. It looked like it there, as he did not like the coverage downfield.
Well, again, Jackson's really struggled, and when he has turned the ball over, he hasn't been stellar. So, you know, last time he turned the ball over twice. He lost to Miami. Didn't look great in that one, so you're going to see if he can turn it around.
Well, he'll follow up the first down and completion with a 5-yard play for Brandon Maynard II, 3rd and medium. 2 tight ends on the field, both of them to the left, 2 receivers to the right, 1 tight end in motion from left to right. Jackson going to tuck and run, able to get through the first line of the defense and able to get the first down.
Well, he saw a little bit of an opening there, and he takes it, and takes it right up the middle. Able to pick up the first down. Good job to keep the drive going. He's got to settle in. I think runs, especially runs to Lund, would really help him get settled in.
They're going to give it to Lund here, but Vidar Lund ran right into the teeth of this Clemson defense. Deontay Shields.
Well, it looks like Clemson was kind of thinking the same thing as they were sitting on that one. And Shields gets in there with the help from Law and shuts him down for a 1-yard loss.
12 carries tonight for 60 yards is Lund, and we're still in this opening half. As Lund in the backfield again, they'll go to him on the halfback screen. David Tilley there to break it up.
Well, that's his 3rd tackle for loss already in this game, too. He's doing a really good job. Doesn't have a ton of tackles, but he's doing a good job coming up with tackles for loss. Reading plays behind the line of scrimmage. Now, on a 3rd and 19, you got to think this drive is over for Florida State.
Backed up to their own 33 as we hit the 2-minute mark and countdown inside of it. Pistol set. Jackson to throw. Pressure coming. Floats it down to the left side of the field. Nearly picked off by Dedrick Law.
Yeah, almost another pick, you know. And Jackson, I don't know what it is about that guy, but he has been turning the ball over a lot, and maybe they're just relying on him too much to throw.
So the punt is away, and Clemson's Dane Jones on the return gets it out to the 40, and we'll take this time to give a shout-out to everybody in the live chat. Spencer Murray, Clutch, Juby, Ty Perry, Dane Jones, Josh Clayton, Eric Mears, Tom Pence, Kilowatts, Corey Dobbins, and Z Hex Mafia, Matt Pack, Jeremy Conley, and anybody else I might have missed, as I saw Rick Jordan in there as well. I apologize, as Clemson will take over from their own 40-yard line and look to go up by 2 scores. Here's Slay. Dancing. Hit as he throws, and it will sail out of bounds.
Well, this is a spot where Florida State needs their defense to come up big. They need that defensive line to create pressure. If they can get a pick and kind of revert some of this momentum, that would be excellent. Even if they force them to punt, that starts chipping away at that momentum.
Well, Florida State crowded the line. They bring a blitz, and Slay goes short over the middle. Had a receiver in Ellis, but he will drop it.
Yeah, good job there by the defense, just containing him over the middle. Now they're going to come out empty backfield. You got to keep an eye on Slay, though. Don't let him scramble for the first down.
Will Slay to throw. 4-man rush, goes short over the middle. Pass is caught by Ellis, and Taloke was going for the headshot.
Well, they did what they needed to. They got the 3 and out. They're going to force them to punt. They're probably not going to get great field position, but they do have a chance here with 1:33 to go and 2 timeouts to drive the ball down the field and tie it up.
So a 3 and out forced by the Florida State defense, and this punt being fielded from his own 15. Moyer gets it out to the 25-yard line, and Adonis Jackson, couple turnovers, didn't look good on the last drive as he tried to rebound. Goes short to the left, and Brandon Maynard II, not much doing for him as he loses a yard.
Well, that's not the way you want to start. You don't want to check it down to your tight end and lose a yard. You know, I would have liked to see like a read option, maybe try to pick up some yards, then come out with a play action on 2nd down, push the ball down the field. Jackson getting a little conservative now after his 2 interceptions.
Pistol set, 3 wide. Tied in motion is Brandon Maynard the second. Adonis Jackson looking to throw. Pressure in his face. Goes short to the left, and Maynard gets about 3 yards. Clemson takes their first time out.
Yeah, way too short, way too conservative. They're not coming up with the right routes to get something going downfield.
3rd and 8, halfback screen to the left. Vidar Loon, he's got blocking in front of him, and that gets him a first down as he trips on his way out to the 41-yard line.
Well, I don't love the call, but it worked out for him. They got the first down. So now that they got the first down, they saved the timeout by him getting out of bounds. Can they make something happen here?
So from their own 41, pistol set, 3 wide. Jackson looking to throw, goes short over the middle. Maynard, the second, makes the grab as he gets 4 yards. Second and 6, 3 wide. Jackson to throw again, going short and to the right. Wanted Deontay King. It hits him in his hands, but he tried to turn upfield a little too quickly. Ball's incomplete, 3rd down.
And just a heads up for anybody whose game might have gone low resolution, you can click on the button and go to 720 or 1080p, and it should resolve itself.
So Adonis Jackson tried to take off, got sacked by Big Bill McAllister. Clemson takes a timeout, so 1 timeout remaining for each offense, and Clemson will take over, looking to add to their lead. Is Dane Jones here on the return, looking for a big return as he will fight his way out to the 45.
Well, Florida State had 2 opportunities to move the ball down the field and score to tie this game before the half. They couldn't capitalize on either one of them. Now they give Clemson another opportunity to extend this lead.
Will Slay, empty backfield on 1st and 10. Goes over the middle. Pass is dropped by Josh Clayton. Looked like some brick hands out there for the safety at wide receiver.
Well, I think they said he caught like Beecher Claw or something. I don't know.
Slay to throw on 2nd down. Taking a shot up the right seam. Pass batted away by Aaron Torres.
Well, both of these quarterbacks are taking risky plays downfield. They're not getting enough separation and leaving the passes short, which is giving the defense time to get underneath it.
Tripp, stop the screen. Slay to throw. Pressure in his face. There he hits the seam route as Dustin Ellis slips a tackle down to the 20.
Well, that one, he wasn't open by much, but he delivers a great pass out there, just enough to hit him in stride and keep him running.
So out to the 21-yard line. Slay going to take it a run, and he is sacked for a loss of 6.
Well, Zach Howard getting in there again. That's already his 3rd sack of this game, and it's his 5th on the season.
So a long 2nd and 16. Here's Slay taking a shot to the right, and it will sail out of bounds.
Well, that's kind of a little fade right out there, trying to throw it to that back pylon in the back corner, and just didn't work out for him.
So on 3rd and 16, the field goal unit is trotted out there, and from 44 yards away, the kick is good by Frazier Flores for a 10-point lead at the half.
Well, it was a good job by Clemson getting some points there. Florida State is going to go into the locker room, and they got to figure out how to turn things around. But if they don't win this game, they're going to look at those 2 lost opportunities to end that half where they couldn't come up with any points.
Just both teams head to the locker room trying to make some adjustments. Florida State's biggest adjustment is protect the football.
Well, yeah, for sure. They got to protect the football. Both teams got to protect the football, but Florida State specifically, they've been turning the ball over a lot the last season and a half, and I don't know what it is that they're not mixing things up enough. Jackson, they're not giving enough protection. They're not working on it enough. I don't know what their solution is, but if they can't protect the football, I don't know how they can even make the playoffs, much less contend for an SEC title.
You look at the 2 offenses there, and Clemson has really, we talked about Florida State in the running game. Clemson has struggled, minus 13 rushing yards in that first half. Their passing game has been on point. Florida State's been really relying on the rushing attack. 10.5 minutes in time of possession versus Clemson, 7.5 minutes, but those 2 turnovers are hurting. And as pointed out, Clemson is on a 24-0 run right now against the Seminoles.
Well, their rush yards are predicated by the sacks that the Florida State defensive line, and they're doing a good job. Unfortunately, the back end's struggling a little bit, not capitalizing on opportunities, and their offense is really struggling,
Yeah.
and they've got a lot of things to work out here at the half if they want to turn this around and come away with a win on the road.
So as we get ready to start this second half, Clemson will start with the football and will look to do what most coaches would love to do, which is score at the end of one half and start the second half with a score as Jones gets out to the 27.
Well, yeah, you're on a 24-0 run, and then you get the ball to start the second half. That's a good spot to be on, especially here in front of your home crowd.
So you look at the Clemson offense, and tonight they've had a lot of problems protecting Will Slay. Zach Howard and Latrell Graves, they've been pretty busy tonight. Lane DeAnthony, William Robinson, they have made life difficult for Slay, yet he has been able to find his moments in the passing game.
You know what's making life difficult for me?
What's that?
Reading chat and seeing Clemson continue to talk about SWAT. I have no idea what that means.
Well, there's the SWAT and then there's ambush, and we
the
still don't
ambush.
know what it is. As Jones gets
Well,
a
we know what
carry
ambush is.
We do?
I mean, LSU came up with that last year, and it's an ambush of Tigers, which I've never heard anybody in the regular world refer to a group of Tigers as an ambush, but they use that. Okay, fine, even though you stole that from LSU. But what is SWAT?
Like SWAT is something that you do.
I don't know.
Mears is saying it's a movie.
Well, we know that.
But how does that apply to Clemson?
Well, he's not on Clemson, so he probably doesn't.
So what does he know, anyways?
Well, judging by
there's that Texas A&M education.
yeah, judging by what we saw from him in the first game, you know, it's debatable what he does know.
3rd and 8.
Score when adversity threatens.
I don't know how adverse you can be when you're up by 10. As Slay deep downfield pass was in the hands of his intended receiver, and it falls incomplete.
Well, they were down 14-0, so they did swat. They have been swatting Florida State around outside of that first quarter, so maybe it is working for them. Although they missed a huge opportunity there to take a 17-point lead.
Well, it's a 3-and-out to begin the half, and Matthew Moyer hit hard out to the 46.
Clutch says he hates this game.
Okay.
The game of football or
NCAA?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing it's a game of football. Or maybe it's this game particularly because you're not winning by more than 10. I don't know.
I don't know what it is.
It's clutch.
Pass downfield to the left and incomplete.
Well, Elijah Thomas is going to hate the sideline after that because he couldn't keep his feet in. If there was no sideline, he would have had a catch.
Adonis Jackson's not going to be too happy with his performance tonight either. 2 picks. And his team is trailing by 10. Jackson to throw, trying to fix as he checks it down. There's Vidar Loon fighting for a first down, but he'll be stopped a couple yards short.
If you want to check it down to your running back, that's the way to do it. Check it down, get it out to him quick, lead him upfield, not out of bounds, and allow him to get some yards after the catch.
3rd and 2, pistol set, 2 tight ends on the field, 1 to either side. Jackson dancing, floats it to the right, jump ball, and it falls incomplete. Wanted Kamorian Moore, and Jake Maddox was in coverage.
Well, it's an interesting decision there because the defender was playing off coverage, and he had to throw it into the defender, and he actually leads it too much. That would have been the better situation to throw one behind him, but Jackson just really struggling on those deep balls right now. And Clemson with yet another opportunity to make it a 3-score game.
Well, both offenses, their first drive of the second half comes out. It's a 3-and-out. And so with the touchback, Clemson will come out and start from their own 20. 4 wide, trips bomb the screen. The give to Dane Jones right up the middle. And Jones, there's that thunder and lightning in one package as he gets 11.
Well, that's only his 5th carry, and they're already up by 10. You got to suspect Dane Jones is going to get a lot more carries here in the second half. And that's going to be tough as he churns out yards and takes time off the clock.
Slay to throw, goes over the middle, and a spinning catch for Forstall, and a flag is thrown. And it is a face mask penalty, as Mike signaled that here in the booth.
Yeah, you can't do that. Kelvin Watkins, the walk-on, is the one that makes the penalty. You make the tackle, but then you add 15 onto that. By the way, that was an absolute dart that was thrown by Will Slay to complete that pass.
So first down and 10 from the Florida State 42. The give to Dane Jones running outside to the right. He gets a couple yards out of that out to the 40.
Well, Florida State's defense is doing a really good job of keeping Dane Jones contained. He hasn't had a lot of carries, but he's not doing a whole lot outside of that one wheel route on the outside early in the first quarter.
4 wide, trip, stop the screen. Slay to throw. Four-man rush goes out to the left. Dustin Ellis breaks the tackle and then gets rocked by Kevin Watts.
Well, Watts came up, tried to lay the boom there. Anytime you can set somebody up like that, you're hoping maybe the ball flies free, but they haven't been able to do it yet. So Watts is fired up, and that's good news for this defense. He's one of those guys that can help create some turnovers, try to get you back into this. Unfortunately, you're facing 3rd and 1, and Clemson very easily could keep this drive going.
Read option, Dane Jones in the backfield. The options are limitless for Clemson as Dane Jones is not in the backfield. Josh Clayton is. Florida State brings a blitz. Slay dancing back to the right, tucks it, runs. Will Slay, he's got open field in front of him. Touchdown, Clemson.
Well, you heard the crowd on that one. As soon as he broke, they could see the seas part. In the huge running lane, they got excited, and Will Slay able to take that one in, create some magic with his legs, and now Florida State in a difficult spot here.
Clemson now on a 31-0 run against the visiting Seminoles. And Florida State started out and things were looking dire for Clemson at the end of that first quarter. Seminoles were up 14-0. Clemson was struggling to move the ball. And since then, Clemson has really let Florida State have it.
Well, I think that's why it's important not to start, prognosticating in the first quarter, even early in the second, because so many things get turned around. Jackson's turned the ball over a couple of times, which has really hampered the offense, and then it's given Clemson some momentum, and they've capitalized on it.
Pistol set, Jackson the give, loomed outside and to the left, and the Clemson defense closes in, stops him for a loss.
Well, and I think right now they've decided that they're not going to let Florida State run the ball. They're not scared of Adonis Jackson throwing the ball downfield. And until he proves he can beat him downfield, they're not going to give him much up front.
2nd and 11. Jackson steps up into the pocket, and he has to throw it away, and so brings up 3rd down.
Clemson's just calling they're dialing up the right coverages. That time he was looking deep, nothing was open, has to throw it away.
From the gun, 4 wide, and a 2-by-2 set. Jackson to throw, blitz coming. Goes short over the middle, and Lund was there to make the catch, but there to make the tackle was Noah Bishop.
You're down by 17. You got to throw. You can't check the ball down on 3rd down. You have to throw, even if you throw an interception, fine, but you can't just check it down and punt the ball away. They're down by 17.
So their last few drives have been punts, namely their last 4, but their last 2 have been 3 and outs.
Yeah, Florida State is struggling, and the half didn't seem to turn it around for them. Now they got to focus on stopping Clemson from adding even more to this lead.
Pistol full house, triple option, Will Slay. He's got running room again as Kevin Watts got over there in a hurry, trying to keep him from scoring from long range again.
Well, and Slay started off slow in this game. He didn't look great early on, although we saw that a few weeks ago. He started off like 1 for 6, then wound up leading Clemson back to the win. So that's the one thing that he is growing into as he progresses, is he is able to take himself out of those funks and turn those games around. Adonis Jackson hadn't figured that out yet.
Slay to throw, goes short to the left, pass is caught by Chase Miller, and he gets it out to the 20.
And they just keep doing what they're doing. They're moving the ball around, they're trying to run it a little bit, doesn't work, they're going 10 yards downfield, picking up first downs. Florida State was doing good defensively early on. They don't really seem to have the answer right now.
First one on the screen, Josh Clayton right up the middle, and he'll get it out to the 25-yard line. A gain of 5 for Clayton, only his 3rd carry of the night.
Well, he's only averaging 2.7 per carry, so I don't know if I'm a big fan of this Clayton experiment right now. But again, we'll see late in this game if he's off the field and Florida State's able to strike deep.
Read option keeper, Will Slay. Picks up 9, and so Clemson well within field goal range, but they're closing in now on 6 as well.
Well, I think 3 would be big because it's basically a 3-touchdown game. If they score a touchdown here and they make this a 24-point game, I'm not saying that Florida State's out of it, but the way they've looked offensively and the way they've really looked all season, I don't see how they come back from that.
From the gun, draw play. Jones outside to the left, able to cut up field. Dane Jones gets the pylon. Touchdown, Clemson.
Aaron Toro over pursued there and allowed Dane Jones to cut inside and gave him that lane. And that's a huge touchdown for this Clemson team because, again, Florida State's down by 24, or by 24. I don't know if they have that in them. It's not like they have a Blaze Gunner who we saw get 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter against Alabama last season and win after they were down 17. They don't have a guy like that they can strike deep, and I don't know what they're going to do to try to come back in this one.
Well, and you talk about it, but there's really not that deep threat in this offense. Elijah Thomas is good. Matthew Moyer is good. But the other aspect of it is, does Adonis Jackson even have that kind of an arm on him?
He hasn't proven to have the accuracy downfield.
Right.
That's the biggest part.
So Deontay King on the return is able to get it out to about the 30-yard line. Now, you look at the two offenses, Clemson has really turned it on. Florida State has really become shelled. 2 picks will do that to you, especially in a young quarterback.
Well, and Cope says in chat, a 14-0 lead. It's now a 38-0 run for Clemson. That's impressive, and that just shows how terrifying this Clemson team is.
Well, and it looks like the way things are going in the SEC, that number 1 seed is going to come down to Florida and Clemson.
More than likely. And I'm trying to think of when they play. I'm going to pull up the schedule real quick here. They play
3 weeks.
Yeah. They play the second to last game of the season.
Yeah,
what an interesting run that would be if both teams are 7-0 going into that. I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
I think one or both of these teams stumble at least once. But that Week 7 game between Clemson and Florida very much could decide the SEC.
That's the way that things are trending in the conference, especially since Florida State, their offense is struggling against this Clemson defense right now. And now Clemson's got a couple of tough games ahead of them. They'll take on Auburn next week. The week after that, they have to play Miami. And so very feasible that both Florida and Clemson can drop one in their next couple of games.
Well, we thought last season that the Big Ten was taking over and kind of taking some of the thunder from the SEC, and it did balance out a little bit last season, but it's right back to the SEC is just brutal to play in. There are no bye weeks, and starting off 4-0 is pretty impressive, but trying to get to 7-0 or 6-0 going into Week 7, not gonna be easy.
It's not, and what's not easy right now is Clemson and the way they're making things difficult for Florida State tonight. Good punt return out to the 33-yard line in Florida State territory, and they're going to go right back to the man who got him there, Dane Jones, with a carry, who gets a.
Florida State's got to reevaluate
Yeah.
their offense.
Yeah.
They are committed to doing something right now that's just not working for them.
Wide receiver screen, and the pass is caught. Jonathan Lamar gets a first down, and so in Clemson, they have found what is working for them offensively. And we talked about it last season. You remember the conversation about Clemson was they're all in these close games, but they just couldn't find ways to win them. And now Clemson this season says, "Look at us."
There's not a lot of close games, and they're winning pretty handily. The one thing I was going to say about Florida State is you got to look at Nick Saban against Georgia a couple seasons ago, where he pulled out Jalen Hurts, put into Tagovailoa, and they went on to win that game. Good coaches can recognize a little bit sooner than the other coaches when they need to make a change, and that's the key. And right now, I think Florida State is just holding on to what's not working for too long.
Clemson has moved down to the 5. Dorian Chase-Miller makes the catch. And so it is first and goal as Rob Money, his 5th tackle of the night. Single back set here, As a tight end in motion, 3-step drop. Slay looking, dancing, shakes off a sack from Graves. End zone, touchdown.
Well, more of the same. Will Slay starting to feel his legs. He's bouncing around in the pocket, buying time. And he's able to hit Ellis there for yet another touchdown. Now it just seems like it's about Clemson establishing that, hey, Florida looked good against Auburn, but Clemson's the dominant predator in the SEC.
Well, and we say that, but I mean, when you look at Clemson's schedule in terms of who they've played Alabama, week 1. Alabama has yet to win a game this season. Played LSU last week. LSU has struggled to win a game this season. Now, that's not to take anything away from Clemson, but have we seen them play a true test like an Auburn, like a Miami yet this season? we haven't
well,
really.
Auburn's 2-2.
Auburn's 2-2, but I mean, we've yet to see them face Miami because they played Michigan. Michigan hasn't won a game yet this season.
You can only play who's on your schedule.
I'm aware of that.
And they're winning the games, and games like this are impressive. And I get what you're saying, and we'll find out more about them as the season goes along.
Right.
But both they and Florida are doing what they need to early on and putting themselves in situation to be in the running at the end of the year.
Well, we're going to find out a lot about Florida next week. They play Miami, and there's the game where you sit back and you say, there's a game that Florida could potentially lose. It'd be their first loss of the season. Auburn, they're 2-2, but we all know what Auburn can be and what Auburn is capable of.
Well, they just won a title a couple seasons ago.
Yeah.
And, they got the same coach. They've got a better coaching staff. They've got talent. So I think Auburn's going to be in it. They faced some tough games.
Yeah.
They came out of the gate against a Notre Dame team that a lot of people thought they should have beat, didn't play very well. And then they ran into a tough early part of their schedule. So, they're in a tough spot, but I don't think it's going to be an easy game for Clemson next week.
Yeah. So we're going to find out a lot about both Clemson and Florida really next week. And Clemson early on right now has been really, you could toss a coin and figure out who's the better team in the CFSL right now between Clemson and Texas.
Wow, you're completely negating Florida.
I am actually, a little bit there. And I think part of that is just simply because Florida early on was such a grinder. They won some close games, won some really ugly games too when you stop and think about it.
But they finally look like they figure out their offense. So we've already known their defense is good.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, we probably need to see them more. And I don't disagree that Texas is probably number one still, but I mean,
it's hard to argue with right now.
We'll see what Texas does this week. They got to keep winning, but if all three of these teams come out of this 4-0, I mean, there's a lot of ammunition for each team to claim that they're number one.
Yeah.
Although none of that really matters because we have a playoff. So.
Yeah, we have a playoff scheme. There's no real ranking system that
you get
matters.
a chance to prove you're number one in a playoff system. Where even if we had rankings or we do have the power rankings, it's fun to talk about.
Yeah.
And it's fun to try to project what's going to happen. Doesn't really mean what.
Well, at the end of 3, Clemson is up big, 45-14 over the visiting Seminoles. You're watching the CFSL on PX1 Sports on YouTube Live. Start of the fourth quarter, and Will Slay looking to throw, floats it deep downfield, and he will let it sail out of bounds. So 2nd and 10. Look at Will Slay, by the way. Coming off a week where he threw 3 picks and no touchdowns. Tonight, 3 touchdowns, no picks.
Well, he turned around, and again, he started slow, and he's really adapted and put together a strong game.
Slay to throw on 2nd down, and he will go underneath at the tight end, Maurice Ross. I believe that's his first catch of the night. He gets 10.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I'd really like to see him just run Dane Jones over and over, get this game over with. But they're like, I think they heard you. I think they can read your mind. They know you're doubting them and saying they haven't played anybody. So they're like, all right, well, let's go for that net differential just in case we fall later on in the season.
Slay takes off. He runs there. And Will Slay is looking much like what a lot of us thought he was going to be, and much like what he was as a freshman. Looks like an offensive player of the year candidate.
Well, it's got to be about consistency. You can't have a game where you go, no touchdowns, 3 picks, and be a player of the year. But if he can put together the rest of the season playing like this, possible.
That's what I'm saying.
Especially if his team goes 8-0 or 7-1.
Yeah, if he can string together games like this. Now, that offensive player of the year conversation, and we'll talk
it's
about
very muddled.
We'll probably talk about it next week since it's a midseason podcast. There's Slay for his 4th touchdown pass of the night. On a night where DeAndre Burks throws 5 touchdowns in the first game, here's Will Slay with his 4th touchdown and time left to throw 5. And this one, I don't even know what to say at this point.
Well, there's a lot of really good quarterback play in this league right now. Very talented quarterbacks, talented groups of receivers. And, I mean, Leo Asiata came out with his big game last week. You got Vito Pepino, who's been a player of the week candidate for 3 weeks in a row to start his career. It's going to be a tough decision, I think, at the end of the season for the voters, figuring out who the best player of the year is. And, we're only not even halfway through the season.
And that's the crazy part. Now, again, as part of our midseason podcast, we'll talk about players of the year. We'll talk about freshman of the year, as we so often do. And Kevin Watts, decent return here. And I mean, at what point do we start teasing some of the fun to come on the podcast?
Monday.
Okay, good to know.
Corey Dobbins says the best player on the best team is player of the year. Hashtag Slay. Well, according to David, Clemson's not the best team.
Yes, according to me, I want to see. I just kind of want to see some steeper competition at this point.
Well, we thought Florida State would be a good test.
We did.
We've been thinking that Florida State is this team that is going to come out and wreak havoc in the SEC, and they can't figure it out. And Adonis Jackson's a big part of that. I think he's a really talented quarterback, but right now this team's not putting him in a position to succeed.
You have to put yourself in a scheme where your personnel can do what they do best. And I'm not saying that this isn't the scheme, but the way that things are working, it doesn't appear to be the case right now for Florida State offensively. As Vidar Loon, there's another guy who's like, let's get him more involved, and that's something we've been hounding for.
Well, your two best players are Vidar Loon and Adonis Jackson. And, Adonis Jackson struggled throwing the ball, and Vidar Loon's not even getting 15 carries a game. You got to look at that and say it's pretty obvious what we're doing wrong.
Right. Well, Loon gets a carry here on first down, and he is stopped for no gain. Ty Perry having a big night, by the way. 8 tackles, 3 for a loss, got a couple of sacks.
Well, and Loon just got his 15th carry, so he's like, shut up with your not getting 15
carries.
Well, it doesn't matter when you're losing by 37 points. I mean, you could have 40 carries, but if you lose by 37,
So pass over the middle for Elijah Thomas. 3rd and 4 is Florida State still seemingly hesitant to push the ball downfield. It seems every season whenever I bring up a point about a team needing to play tougher competition, I'm told I'm a hater. It never fails. Every season I bring up that point.
Yeah, everybody wants to be told they're number one, but we get a flag on the play there. Right now, if I was to rank the top 3, I would probably, granted, one of these teams hasn't played yet this year, but I would probably say it's Texas, Clemson, and Florida. I'm kind of with you. I do think Florida's turning around, and I think it's going to be they're going to make it tough in the SEC this year. But from what we've seen so far, I would say Texas up there, and it's mostly because of that dynamic offense.
Right, yeah. The way they have carried themselves at an offense, and then you look at what Clemson has done, and the dominance really, especially tonight, plays into that. Now, Florida, as we've talked about, they've had some really ugly wins so far this season. A win is a win, obviously. But, the fashion with what they had early on through the first 3 weeks, and the talent that they had on their offense, and then they turned around last week. Can they keep that up? And that's the one thing that Florida has struggled with, especially last season. They got out to a 3-0 start, but they struggled to stay that way.
They won, though. They beat Auburn. They got the monkey off their beat back. Now they're 4-0. Does that open them up the rest of the season? The thing you got to look past the top 3, though, is you got to look at USC. Where is USC falling in that? DeAndre Burks looks like a Player of the Week candidate, and nobody really gave USC a shot this season after everything that they lost in the offseason, and now they look like they might be the second best team in the Big Ten.
Will Slay showing obviously his running ability, because, what more can we see from Will Slay to say whether or not that he's a good player?
Well, I mean, again, we've known he's a good player.
For sure.
He just hasn't been consistent. And that's the biggest part.
So Slay, an empty backfield, looking to throw again, and he goes short. There's Dorian Chase Miller, and Dorian Chase Miller's having a big night tonight.
Well, all they're doing is padding stats. 5 catches, 55 is not a big night.
It's not a big night.
He had a touchdown.
I thought he had a bigger night, actually.
Well, Slay's going for his 5th touchdown. Don't get it misconstrued. He does not want to be outdone by DeAndre Burks.
Goes short, Josh Clayton, who cuts back and gets it down to the 12. 13-yard play here as Clemson looking to – are they maybe going for 60 against Florida State? Are they trying – are they going to do to Florida State what Florida State had done to them by Michigan a few seasons ago?
No.
Okay. Slay, read option keeper, and he will get 5 as we near the 5.5 minute mark.
Well, he started off. Remember, they had minus 13 yards rushing at the half, and now he's got 80 yards rushing.
Well, a lot of that too was he was getting sacked, and Clemson was having a tough time protecting him from Zach Howard and company.
Well, and they've adapted.
Yes.
They've done what Florida State wasn't able to do, which was adapt.
Slay to throw, going short to the left. Dustin Ellis down to the 1.
Well, the question is here: do they throw it
and give him his 5th?
And try to get his 5th, or are they going to run it? And is it Slay that keeps it?
Do you give it to Dane Jones? Jones isn't even in, so it's Josh Clayton, who looks winded.
Well, yeah, he's sucking wind back there.
Oh, they will give it to Clayton, and they will give Josh Clayton the rushing touchdown.
Well, they're like, you've been such a trooper in this game, playing both ways. And
here's a touchdown.
Yeah, why
That's
not?
the equivalent of a cookie. So the extra point is good, 59-14, our score. Tomorrow night's action. Couple of big games tomorrow night, and really both games tomorrow night are taking place within the Big Ten. Notre Dame has to go on the road into Lincoln Memorial. They'll take on the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and then that game will be followed up by a really big contest. Texas will play tomorrow night. They go on the road. They have to go into Ann Arbor and play a Michigan team who's seeking their first win. But Michigan, all their games this season have been close.
They have been for the most part. Tanner Jones has struggled with some turnovers. They're looking to figure that out. They haven't thrown the ball a lot. I hear that they're going to mix in some more running. I don't know if that's, just stuff they're putting out there, if it's really going to happen. But they are adding some new wrinkles to their offense to try to turn things around. They've already been pretty prolific offensively. That could be one of those, 52-45 kind of games.
Well, and when you look at Michigan, I mean, last week their first conference loss. So Michigan still has a path to be able to make the playoffs, even though they're 0-3.
Yeah, they started off slow, but they still have a lot of time to turn things around in conference games to do it. I think the big part of tomorrow night is Nebraska.
Yeah.
Leo Asiata coming off an 8-touchdown performance, really turned it around, looked like a player of the year that he was last season. If he keeps that going, Nebraska, who is really looking to be a contender and win the Big Ten this year, they could very easily lose that game and be looking up at the bottom of the standings saying, are we even a playoff team now?
Yeah. Corey Dobbins gets the sack on Adonis Jackson. And this is one of the bigger parts of Clemson, that their front seven is really good. You got David Tilley, you got Corey Dobbins, you've got Big Bill McAllister up there, not unlike Nebraska's own front seven and all of the talent that they have up front.
Nebraska or Florida State?
Nebraska. Deep shot, and the pass is intercepted once again. Dedrick Law with the interception, and he will run it back to midfield. The third pick of the night for Adonis Jackson.
Yeah, and it's the deep ball. I mean, every interception you see him throw is on a downfield pass, and I don't know what it is. I think the biggest thing is if I'm Florida State right now, I try to do what Florida was doing for the first season and a half before this week.
Yeah.
You play short ball control offense, run the ball maybe more than Florida was.
Right.
But you can't keep allowing this guy to throw the ball downfield and throw in 2 or 3 picks a game.
Slay to throw. Short and to the left, and it would sail out of bounds. So Slay's got time, right? 4:08 to play, and he's got time to go for 5.
Well, and Clutch said in chat that they want 60, so they're not happy with the 45-0 or the 45-point drubbing. They want to add to it.
Slay to throw on 2nd and 10, goes short over the middle to a walk-on who gets blasted by Taloka.
Well, Taloka's a little mad, I think, that they're coming out passing up by 45 with 4 minutes to go.
Are you saying that Taloka feels it's not very sportsmanlike?
I mean, if we were to do a poll, I think most of the people would say it's not very sportsmanlike. But then the counter to that is if you don't want them to score, stop them.
Yeah. Something that Florida State has struggled to do for pretty much all night since the first quarter is Slay takes off and runs, and a good hard run for him on his way down at about the 25-yard line. Slay closing in on 100 rushing yards.
So Clemson scored early in the second quarter to get their first points of the game, to make it a 14-7 game, and Florida State has not scored since then.
Exactly. Been a 45-0 run for Clemson.
Oh, 59-0 run.
Yes, 59-0 run. Excuse me.
59-0 run.
59 unanswered.
That is almost unprecedented in this league.
Well, they're looking to make it even worse.
Yes.
Slay out of the pistol. 2-by-2 set from inside.
Oh, now they're going to run out the clock.
Oh, no, well, they're going to let some time tick away.
Now they're just toying with everybody's emotions.
Namely Clemson, because, Clutch has said he wants 60.
Well, they got plenty of time to do it.
question is it going to be Slay with his 5th touchdown pass?
Tom's saying in chat that they will remember this one.
Handoff to the walk-on, and he will lose a yard. 2nd down.
I don't think they're done. I do hope that they run more clock out before they come up the line of scrimmage.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I don't want to sit here and watch them run 30 seconds so they get a clip off, but we're going to.
No? Okay. Eric Mears, if they put up 60, does this become a rivalry game?
You got to win for it to be a rivalry game.
That's what we were told once before.
Although
Florida State did win last season. Granted, Clemson's win here tonight means that
it might be. I mean, I guess theoretically it could be because now Florida State wins 1 against Clutch. Now Clutch comes out and drubs them.
Yeah.
So you got to think next season Florida State's like, all right, fools, this is, you're going to be at our turf.
Yeah.
We want to put it to you guys.
Well, you think. We make no promises when we make a schedule. Slay to the end zone. And he's out of bounds. Dustin Ellis out of bounds.
They
will take another look at it for his 5th touchdown.
And Tom's probably saying, if you give that to him, I'm going to scream. Well,
out of bounds.
I don't know if his
it's
foot
on the chalk.
I don't know if his foot was still touching when he first got his hands on the ball.
After review of the play, the ruling on the field stands.
So it will stand. Pass is incomplete.
Another chance for Slay to get his 5th
Another
touchdown.
chance. 3rd and 11. So probably
even a field goal is 60. They said they wanted 60. They didn't say 66.
And they didn't say that they wanted Slay to get his 5th, just 60.
So field goal it is?
Probably a field goal.
Why is the clock still running? The officiating this, we need some
The officiating
officials.
this season has been terrible. Did we
Very
get Pac-12 refs or something?
Very
Slay to the end zone. Incomplete.
Well, they went for it there. I think that was Jonathan Lamar. Couldn't get his hands on it.
I think it was Ellis.
No, it was not number 1. Yeah, every time you see a single digit, you call Jonathan Lamar Ellis earlier.
Oh, it didn't. Well, the field goal is good, so there's your 60.
Well, they got 60.
62 unanswered from the 2nd quarter on. That's impressive. So the kick is away, and Florida State looking to make something of it. And
when I made the line today, I made it 6.5, and I was a little nervous at that. And I thought, even though the way the pick'em was going, it could have been a little bit higher. And, apparently, the pick'em knew what they were talking about.
Clearly. Lund hurdles a man who was down and then gets spun down at the line of scrimmage. And 11 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, 2 sacks for Ty Perry tonight.
Well, I think it's safe to say that the fire has been put on the spear tonight.
Oh, for sure. That's a safe assumption. Donis Jackson to the left. Brandon Maynard the second. 8 yards. 3rd and 2 inside of a minute. And are we watching a movie tonight?
Well, I hope we're not watching a 4th interception. I think Florida State is just going to try to play it safe and just not turn the ball over again.
Just run the clock out. Well, Jackson, play fake, rolling out. Throws it over the middle. Pass is caught. And Elijah Thomas gets out across midfield.
Yeah, I think they're just trying to move the ball a little bit without making it too difficult for Jackson. They don't want to take shots downfield.
Right.
They don't want to throw his 4th pick.
Right, exactly.
They're trying to protect his ego as much as they can. They could just run it out, but I think that's almost waving the white flag too much. So they're trying to throw. They're just trying to keep it really conservative.
Well, if this last play, assuming Florida State doesn't try to hurry back up to the line or call a timeout, should end the game, although it's an incomplete pass, so it'll stop the clock. Never mind.
There you go, trying to predict things again.
Well, I figured they would run the football. 2nd and 10, pistol set, 2 tight ends, top the screen. On Clemson's side of the field, here's Adonis Jackson, and he will throw it away again. So 3rd and 10 with a stopped clock.
Adonis Jackson doesn't look interested in
He doesn't want to go home yet.
But doesn't look interested in throwing anything past 5 yards. He's just like,
too.
wait, you want me to throw it? No.
Well, there they go to the halfback screen, and Vidar Lund is brought down, and that should do it.
Well, you've said that once already.
I did.
Now, are they actually going to punt this?
That's the bigger question here.
Punt it, and then they return it for a touchdown.
Now you're trying to predict things.
I mean, that would be something.
Well, it will bounce at the 5.
Well, Clemson's got an opportunity. If they want to pull Michigan against Florida State, they got an opportunity to just drop back and air it out and try for an 80-yard touchdown. And they're coming out in 4 wide.
Pistol set, but they will just hand it to the walk-on instead of kneeling it like any sane coaching team. And Clemson with a big win at home, 62-14 over the visiting Seminoles.
I mean, it was impressive. We were all doubting Clemson the way Florida State came out with a 14-0 lead, and Clemson just absolutely took it to them. Folks, I think they're for real.
So that'll do it for us here tonight with a big win by the Clemson Tigers. We'll be back tomorrow night on Twitch for Notre Dame at Nebraska, followed by Texas at Michigan. It all starts at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time on Twitch TV. For Mike, I'm David. We'll see you then.